I'm Tracy Burns from the Fox Business Network. Welcome to Wine with Me, my favorite time of the week. We're going on an exploratory wine tasting today. Believe it or not, there's other places to make wine other than Italy, California, all your basics, right? We're going to Moldova, and we brought in like the Eastern European expert to do it. Christy Canterbury is a master of wine, one of 10 in the United States, right?
Females.
One of 10 females, yes, in the United States, 4 of which are here in New York. Master of wine who happens to know a heck of a lot about Eastern Europe. And I think Eastern Europe is so interesting because everyone presumes Europe makes wine. Mm-hmm. You know, Italy, we've tasted Greece. Like, those are, I think, your basics over there, right? But no one thinks of Moldova. We're here talking about Moldova because we want to explore other parts of the world. But really, there's something going on these days with these guys that Russia has put sanctions on Moldova. So, to your point, Moldova basically sells their wine to Russia. That's how they make their money.
Yes.
And Russia has said
of it.
No more because Moldova has the audacity to want to like go be friends with the EU.
Right. No. So
they're not selling anymore. And you said earlier, 25% of households in Moldova are in the wine business somehow.
Yes.
So there's jobs on the line here.
Yeah, and it's not just that everyone's a winemaker. There are people that work in warehousing and shipping. There are people that do quality control. There are people who put labels on bottles.
And so as a result, we're going to taste wines and on behalf of the people of Moldova, what are they called?
Moldovans.
We're all going to go out and buy it, too. So
right.
Let's discuss it and taste it. So this now is a Chardonnay planted, grown, bottled in Moldova.
The whole nine in Moldova, in central Moldova, in an area called Codru.
And what am I getting out of this?
Well, what I get out of it, and then you can tell me what you get.
Okay.
If you want. But I was tasting this last night, and I thought, it tastes a bit like a Chablis, so Chardonnay from France, from Burgundy, in a warmer year, or maybe a Chardonnay from the south of France, like Macron, Pouilly-Fuissé, also wines that we are familiar with as Americans, but it's got a bit of minerality with a nice little chunk of fruit on the backside.
It's a perfect little introduction to an American Chardonnay drinker.
Yeah, it has old world character, but new world class. It's perfectly pure. It's easy to drink. You can throw it back with or without food.
I love it. And the red?
This is this bottle. It's a cuvee we use from Etc. Half cab, 30% Merlot. And then we have Saperavi and Negra Rara. Negra Rara is called the rare black grape. And there's only about 80 hectares planted. So it is actually quite rare, but it's a very fine grape.
An indigenous grape to Moldova.
Yes.
Rare.
Yep.
And they blend it. See, I find this very fascinating. They blend it with grapes that Americans are comfortable with.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they don't taste the same. But it is a fabulous introduction for Americans.
Yeah. And the other grape in this wine is called Saperavi. And Saperavi means dye. And, of course, there are other grape varieties in this wine. But it really is an inky black colored wine. And it tends to have a lot of tannin. So it's kind of a big, powerful, boisterous sort of wine that we kind of like to drink here in this country.
So this would be like your big cab.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you quickly before we go, do you pair these with your typical meals? Do I have to cook food from Moldova to drink Moldovan wine?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I think that anything that you are going to put on the table, these will go well with. And what I love about these particular wines, too, is that, frankly, you can just have a glass. You can pair it with good company.
And what I love the most is when you bring a bottle like this to someone's home, you could explain that you're supporting the country against these ridiculous Russian sanctions that are hurting the people and their jobs. And I have to believe that sales are down.
Yeah,
because
sales are tragically down.
Christy, so glad to meet you.
Excellent to meet you, too.
So
Thanks
glad
for having
you
me
came
on.
to introduce us to this fine little country, too, and their wines. All right.
My pleasure.
Go find a wine from Moldova.